Right, guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Mentor I Wish I Had. We have a super exciting video today and something that I can't wait to share with you. The video is going to be about how to build a business whilst holding down a full-time job. Now, I'm sure that there are so many people out there who want to experience this, who are sat in jobs that they may love or that they may hate, and that they have huge business and entrepreneurial goals and visions that they'd love to pursue, but just don't know how to get from their desk, which they feel tied to their bigger business dreams. And I'm so passionate about this because it's something that I actually went through. I loved my job, I loved everyone I worked with, but I always had a burning desire to set up my own company. So this is going to be a great video. It's going to have many different points that I'll run through for you, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll feel really motivated and know exactly what the steps are that you have to take to build up a business whilst holding down a full-time job. But before we jump in, let's cut to a quick intro about who I am and why I set up this YouTube channel. Before we jump into today's video, a short introduction from me. My name is Johnny Garrett, and over the past 7 years, I have built my own British independent luxury watch brand into a 7-figure business, all while grinding away at Britain's largest bank in London. With no investors, no debt, and no mentor, it was a challenging and lonely journey. I worked day and night meeting with hundreds of successful business owners who shared their lifelong knowledge with me to unlock everything I have achieved today. Why spend the next 7 years of your life learning the hard way when I can share that knowledge with you for free right now? So if you are ready to commit to your business dreams, hit that subscribe button now. Right, guys, now let's jump into the video. We are going to talk about how to build a business whilst holding down a full-time job. So the first point really that I'd like to cover off is a question, and it's a question that I want to throw back to you guys on the other side of the screen. And the question is, are you hungry enough? Right? You are already holding down a full-time job. You are working probably 9 to 5, 5 days a week. It is already very tiring, both probably mentally and physically. So the first question I'd say is, are you hungry enough to pursue this business? Because you're going to be spinning two plates at once. You're going to be wearing many different hats at once. You're going to be coming home from work exhausted, and you're going to have to open up your laptop and attack that business harder than what you've actually been doing in your full-time job. And this is why you have to feel hungry enough to want to do it. Are your dreams big enough? Are the burning desire in your stomach fiery enough? You really need to think about these kind of things, okay? Because it's not easy and there's going to be long days ahead. So I'll give you an example for me. When I was working full-time in Britain's largest bank, I really enjoyed the job. I enjoyed the people that I worked with, but I had that burning desire to really give it more and chase my business or entrepreneurial dreams. From as young an age as I can remember, I always knew that I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. One example was that when I was building my luxury watch company, I had to go to Switzerland to find world-class suppliers to produce our watches. It just so happened that the show, the biggest watch trade show in the world, where suppliers were going to be sat there speaking to individuals who wanted to set up their own watch company, was on a weekday. So I had to physically ask for 1 day annual leave to fly over to Basel in Switzerland and go to this show and hopefully persuade some world-class suppliers to start producing our luxury watches. Now, you have to consider, are you comfortable enough to consider burning your annual leave or your holiday allowance to dedicate it to building up your business? Okay, that's an example of I had to give up 1 day's holiday to be able to commit. And there was many other days that I had to obviously give away, and holiday allowance I had to give away. But it's not just holiday allowance, guys. It's also burning your own personal savings, burning your own personal time. You need to make sure that if you are taking this seriously, that your resources, both time, financially, are poured into your business, because you are going to be wearing two hats, the hat of your full-time job and the hat of the entrepreneur when he or she gets home. Okay, so the first question is, are you hungry enough? My second piece of advice is all about time management. You are genuinely going to be the CEO or the master of two different ships at once. Every day that you wake up, you need to make sure that every single hour is used as efficiently as possible. So lists, planning, prioritizing is going to become your best friend. So something that I used to do and still do to this day is every day I wake up and my day comprises of a list. And what I do is I prioritize that list in order of most important to least important. You need to make sure that your day is set up and structured in a way that you can juggle your full-time job and your growing business at the same time. The way that you do that is by the night before allocating about 1 hour to be able to work out what your next day is going to comprise of. Because when that alarm clock goes off, you need to spring up, have your coffee, do whatever your morning routine is and get straight into the activities. But if you're waking up and not knowing what to do or where to start or who to speak to, then you're going to have no idea how to allocate your finite time. Because what you're going to realize, guys, is time is the biggest resource in life, and you need to make sure that every single hour that you're awake is as productive as possible. And that's another important point. What time are you waking up? Okay, the early bird catches the worm, in my opinion. I am the type of entrepreneur who wants to wake up early. It's a peaceful and quiet time. I have time to myself to be able to work out what that first priority is for the day and attack it head on. So by the time I get to maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, I've already had a very productive morning. Now, some people are night owls and they like to work until 1, 2, 3 a.m. It's completely up to yourself, but you just have to make sure that all of the hours that you are awake, you are using it in the most productive and efficient manner as possible, okay? So work out what the best way is for you to be able to prioritize your day and make sure that time management is key. My third point is around compromise. If you want to build a business whilst holding down a full-time job, you are going to have to compromise your personal social life. Because as soon as you get home, where normal people would come home, finish their job, take their shoes off, go to the gym, put on Netflix, go and meet friends, have a beer, I'm afraid you can't do that. Or at least you can't do that for the first 2 years. This is something that I always say to people. If you dedicate your being for 2 years to exactly what your goal is, you can actually create freedom, not just financial freedom, but lifestyle freedom, just by dedicating your life to a singular focus for a 2-year period. Now, that may sound easy in this video, but it's actually very difficult. And that specific part is where I think 99% of all people who are trying to grow a business fail. You've heard the statistics, okay? 90% of everyone who sets up a business fails, okay? So you need to be almost crazy enough or have a strong enough belief to believe that you can be better than 1 in 10 people, okay? 1 in 10 people, you need to feel like you can outperform, outwork, outdedicate yourself to them. So what that means is where others are going to be going out, every time that you're invited to drinks or something to do with your social life, I'm afraid you really seriously need to consider whether you should be going or whether you should be back at home working and driving further towards your bigger goals, okay? So consider, are you willing to compromise the next 2 years of your life? Now, I'm telling you just how difficult it is, but guys, if you dedicate those 2 years to your business pursuit properly, I can guarantee you that in 2 years' time, you can enjoy all the fruits of your labor. You can travel around the world. You can work with who you want, when you want, on your terms, never have anybody to answer to again. But you just have to work so hard for a 2-year period every day, okay? So the question is, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to compromise? Point number 4, you need to crush it in both your job and your business, okay? Now, this is the interesting part, right? I think people clicking on this video, how to build a business whilst having a full-time job, are going to think, oh, well, all I need to do is just take my foot off the accelerator in my job and spend more time building my business. That is absolutely categorically not the right thing to do. You should be smashing it out the park in both your full-time job and your business. Because if you are crushing it in work and crushing it in your business, your character profiles there are matching each other. You need to make sure that you are a productive, driven, ambitious individual in every single outlet of your life that you try to pursue, whether it be your job, whether it be the gym, whether it be taking up another language, whether it be pursuing a new skill that you want to learn, because it doesn't match the behavior of a successful entrepreneur. If you're terrible at your job and you're doing awful at it because you're dedicating all of your time to running your business, that's categorically not right. So make sure that you crush it in both your job and your business that you're trying to grow. How do you do that? Everything I've just said prior to it. You have to be hungry enough. You have to have insane time management. Prioritize. You have to wake up early. You have to compromise. Those social invitations that you're going to, you have to say no, okay? So make sure that you crush it in both your job and in your business, okay? Now, a really important point that you need to consider is this. When you create a lifestyle business, or some people call it a hobby business whilst holding down a full-time job, you need to work out, do you want it just to permanently be a hobby business? Are you quite happy with it maybe generating you another £1,000 a month for the rest of your life? Or is this business that you're creating going to become your core career? You're going to one day quit your full-time job and do this full-time. This is a very, very important question to ask. If it's the latter and it's something that you want to grow and you want to be a full-time entrepreneur, it is inevitable that at some stage you're going to have to tell your boss, and you're going to have to work out when is the right time to quit. So some advice here, because I've been through this myself. When my business was at the stage that it was really growing exponentially, and I was earning more money in my business than I was in my job. Now you're probably going to be thinking, oh, well, that's guaranteed the time for you to quit. Well, actually, what I would recommend is there a way that you can get a sabbatical from work? So if you don't know what a sabbatical is, that is the opportunity to be able to have 3 to 6 months away from work, unpaid, okay, that's very important, unpaid, where you can work full-time on the business, maybe travel at the same time, and really see whether your business has the ecosystem, the blueprint to be able to fulfill you and sustain you for the rest of your life. And that's exactly what I did. I took a 6-month sabbatical from work. I went with my fiance at the time, now wife. We traveled around Mexico, built the business in Mexico. And over that 6-month period, I really realized over 6 months, the business was doing a fantastic job. And I wasn't based in the UK. I was traveling all around Mexico at the time. So I knew that at the end of the 6 months, the business was able to sustain itself for that period. And I knew if I continued to put all of my efforts behind it, that this could be my lifelong career. And I haven't looked back since. So I would highly recommend, if possible, that you take a sabbatical. Now, some people have quite an extreme opinion on how to set up their business. I've heard the expression, get a loan and leave home. And what they're basically implying there is quit your job and set up your business as soon as you have the business idea. Now, I would absolutely categorically disagree with that. You have security in your job. You have a salary coming in. You have the perks of the job. You have a team around you. You need to make sure that you build your business whilst keeping your job intact. Grow it over an 18 months, 24-month period. Prove to yourself and your bank account that your business can actually provide for you, your partner, your future family. Then consider quitting your job. Don't just have the idea, quit work with no savings, no real business plan. You really need to think that through, okay? Now, you also need to think about when is the right time to tell your boss, because this is also an interesting point, right? If you're just setting up a business, you haven't even got customers yet, you don't have a product yet, you don't have a social media accounts, you don't have a website. So really, what are you telling your boss? So what I would say is, Build the business to a point where you're certain and you're confident that this is something that you want to pursue, and then tell your work and obviously register it with your compliance team, etc. Because you don't want to be telling your boss every day, oh, I'm pursuing a gym business. Oh, I'm pursuing a car business. Oh, I'm pursuing a plant business. Oh, I'm pursuing a poster business. Because then also they're going to be thinking, well, hang on a minute, how committed are you to your job if all you're trying to do is pursue all of these businesses? If you come to your boss and you go, well, actually, boom, for the last however long, I've got a product, I've got a concept, I've got a website, I've actually got my first sale. How cool is that? And what I found is that my boss became one of my biggest advocates, and still to this day is a very, very close friend of mine and huge supporter of the business. So he actually became one of my biggest cheerleaders. So I guess what I'm saying is you may be surprised at just how much your boss supports you in the whole process, okay? Now, hopefully you found all of that really interesting. Now, you may be asking yourself or saying, Johnny, that's all great, but how do I think of a great business idea to have in 2024? Well, fear not. One of the last videos that I shot was the best business ideas to consider in 2024. And these are ideas that I would pay somebody for as the founder of my brand, a British luxury watch company. So if I'm willing to pay people for those services in 2024, come on, they must be really, really relevant business ideas. So click into our video library, press that one next, the best business ideas in 2024. I'll leave a link in the bottom. If you enjoyed this video and you found it valuable, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to leave a comment in the video section, in the comment section below, letting me know exactly what topics you would like me to cover off next. But thank you so much for listening. Until next time, thank you.